Good evening, this is Brass Tax. I'm Zaka Jacob. It's day 3 and there is no end to the Nataka that's happening in Karnataka. All the drama, though, is playing out here in Delhi between 10 Janpath and 10 Rajaji Marg, between where Rahul Gandhi is staying currently and where Mallikarjun Kharge resides. Today, both of them met separately with both Siddaramaiah as well as DK Shivakumar. The compromise formula, that of rotational chief minister with DK being offered the deputy chief minister's post as well as some important portfolios, that has now been rejected by DK. Neither does the High Command want to proceed without getting DK's buy-in into this compromise formula. All in all, the deadlock continues for the third straight day running, and it's playing out in full public glare. There were protests outside 10 Janpath. There were also supporters of Siddaramaiah who were hailing slogans in Bengaluru outside his residence when the news came in earlier today that the decks are cleared for him. The decks are not cleared, at least not just yet. Is the Congress not risking alienating the very same people in Karnataka, the very same electorate of Karnataka, which gave it such a large and historic mandate, by not being able to decide on a chief minister quickly?
Matter of today or tomorrow, and we will have a new leader of the Congress legislature party within next 48 to 72 hours. We'll have a new cabinet in Karnataka.
Straight away, starting with some breaking news. There are hectic late-night parleys that are underway in Delhi right now. Randeep Surjewala and KC Venugopal, two very powerful Congress leaders, are currently meeting with Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge. Randeep Surjewala, remember, is the party General Secretary in charge of Karnataka. And of course, KC Venugopal is the Organization General Secretary. Mr. Surjewala, we're given to understand, will also be meeting separately with DK Shivakumar at this late hour. So clearly, hectic parleys are going on even at this 11th hour here in Delhi, in a bid to try and convince DK Shivakumar to accept this 50-50 formula. He is digging his heels in, saying it's now or never. If they want to make him something, they have to make him chief minister. He will settle for nothing less. Pallavi Ghosh is joining us. She's got details on this story. Harish Upadhyaya will also be joining us from Bengaluru. But Pallavi, just walk us through, this compromise formula and why DK Shivakumar is not willing to settle for this compromise formula.
So what DK Shivakumar's argument is very simple, that I'm no less than Siddaramaiah. At a time after Lok Sabha elections, when the Congress party's performance was extremely poor in Karnataka, he was made the Congress chief, and according to him and his supporters, he's built the party bit by bit. He's made it cohesive, and in fact, the success story of the Congress party also needs to be attributed to him. So he feels that for the sake of himself, for the sake of his supporters, he should at least not come across of any compromise or stepping down. And therefore, I'm happy to continue as the state Congress president, but there's just no question of me blinking and either becoming a deputy CM or becoming a part of this rotation cycle, because that really doesn't mean much. And I think that's the main problem for the top Congress leadership. Who's going to budge? Who's going to blink? Who's going to listen to the high command? Because as of now, no one is listening. So what they're going to do is, next 24 hours becomes extremely critical. This is not the only round of meeting you're going to be seeing, Zaka. There are going to be several more rounds of meeting which are going to take place. Some of them are going to be very visible, some of them on working off the phones to try and ensure some kind of amicable solution comes out. I do very quickly that diktat coming in from Randeep Surjewala, where he says that disciplinary action will be taken against any leader who makes any out-of-line comment. Essentially, this is a kind of a damage control, because we were seeing scenes outside 10 Janpath, even as inside DK Shivakumar was huddled in a meeting with Rahul Gandhi. Very curt message going across from the Congress top leadership. Enough is enough. Give us 24 hours. We're going to try and find a solution.
All right, Pallavi, but what is the leverage that DK Shivakumar has to try and dig his heels in? He's been in Delhi for the last couple of days. For the last 3 days, the Congress has not been able to figure out some kind of a middle ground between these two competing individuals. What is giving him the confidence that he can hold out for so long? At some point, the High Command is going to say that this has been going on for far too long. This is a bad look on the Congress party after that historic mandate. This is as much as what we can give you, DK. What then happens?
But you know, we also have to understand the larger picture of the Congress party. And the larger picture is that Congress is, facing a lot of people who are leaving them. And many of those who leave complain about the fact that, they have never been given their due. I think Congress is smarting under that. We are also seeing what is happening in Rajasthan. And someone like a DK Shivakumar, who goes back to times of, say, Ahmed Patel, who actually saved the prestige of Sonia Gandhi by ensuring that her political secretary won the elections. I think there's a factor of loyalty which comes in. There's a factor of payback which comes in. And that perhaps best explains why the Congress party, particularly top leadership, doesn't want to take DK Shivakumar for granted and at least send out a message to its cadre in an election year that you mean a lot. Those who stay by the party mean a lot. I think DK Shivakumar epitomizes the loyalty factor, and therefore it's very difficult for the Congress party to completely ignore him.
Okay, let me also get a word in from Harish Upadhyay, who's joining us from Bengaluru. On the other side, on the Siddaramaiah camp, clearly he is by far the more popular leader. Survey after survey is showing that. And of course, the Congress's historic mandate, one big reason for that was the consolidation of the backward caste. And he is seen, for whatever it's worth, as some kind of a backward classes hero. But if he were not to be given the top job, would the Congress risk finding itself in a similar situation that the BJP did with the retiring of Yediyurappa? All said and done, you can spin it whichever way you want. The fact is that the Lingayat vote did split, and a big part of that was because not many of them liked the way that Yediyurappa, the chief ministership, was taken away from him. So does the Congress risk doing that same thing with Siddaramaiah?
Well, absolutely. Let's remember Siddaramaiah is someone who's quit the JDS and come to the Congress in 2006. He's not someone who's perhaps as sober or as mellowed down as somebody like B.S. Yediyurappa. He's even more aggressive, and he will not sit quiet if DK Shivakumar becomes the chief minister. He will ensure the party suffers the damage in 2024 Lok Sabha election. Remember, even when that government was formed between Congress and JDS, he was unhappy about it, and we constantly saw that he became an alternate power center. Some of his MLAs were rallying around him. That really created a lot of trouble for that coalition government and H.D. Kumaraswamy. But if you look at some of the senior leaders here, Zaka, in Karnataka, they are pointing out that Siddaramaiah has been in the Congress for the last 17 years, out of which 14 years he's enjoyed power. 9 years as leader of opposition, and then 5 years as the chief minister. They are saying he's got everything. For the short time that he has spent with the Congress party, he's got everything. He hasn't worked for the organization as well. And they are now pitching for somebody from within the party, a loyalist, to become the chief minister. Okay. And that is something that even DK quickly realized. And that's perhaps one of the main reasons why he offered Mallikarjun Kharge, saying that if Kharge comes back to Karnataka and becomes the chief minister, he would step aside. He'd be more than happy for that. But I'm guessing it will take a few more, couple of days at least, before the Congress party starts looking at a third consensus candidate.
All right. I'm not entirely sold on this third candidate proposal that's being floated, mostly by the media, because ultimately it ends up achieving nothing. You alienate both Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar, and it ends up achieving nothing. But let me open this up to our panelists who are joining us now. R.P. Singh, national spokesperson of the BJP. Meeta Chakrabarti is spokesperson of the Congress party. R.K. Upadhyay is a senior journalist. R. Vaidyanathan is an author and journalist. Meeta Chakrabarti, let me start with you. Doesn't the Congress party seriously risk alienating some of the people, at least, who gave it this historic mandate, this large mandate? You've taken 4 days, and this whole thing is playing out in public, not like in the BJP where it happens in private. Wouldn't some of those people be disillusioned? I mean, if these two leaders were able to keep their ambitions in check for 3 months or 6 months, the better part of the campaign, why can't they do it now?
Well, good evening to all your viewers, and the answer is clearly no. If you look at history, or even the history of some of the recent state elections, in 2017, when there was an election in UP, and there were 3 contenders, I think Manoj Sinha, Kesav Maurya, and Mr. Yogi. And it took more than 7 days to come to a consensus and to come to a decision. And after that, Mr. Yogi was sworn in as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. As recently as in 2021, if you look at the state assembly elections of Assam, a very similar thing happened. There was a delay of 8 days because there was this conflict between Hemant Biswa Sharma and Mr. Sonowal. And I think it took about 7 to 8 days before a consensus could be arrived. And after that, Hemant Biswa Sharma was sworn in. And it has been like 3 or 4 days after the election results were out in Karnataka. So we have had instances of 7 to 8 days involvement in choosing of the CM. And while I am not trying to make a comment on their internal process, I think this entire frenzy in sections of media and this frenzy being artificially created by the opposition, which is the BJP in this case, is completely uncalled for. We have a democratic process within our political party.
I don't think this is being created by the media. It is playing out in the full public glare, in the media glare. The media can't, walk away from a story when the story is playing in the public domain.
Of course.
But having said that, let me ask RP Singh the point that you made. RP Singh, the point is...
Can I just complete the point?
Yeah, I've heard you. Let me ask the question that you asked about how, in the case of Yogi Adityanath, the BJP took 7 days. In the case of Hemanta Biswa Sarma, you took 8 days. Why are you begrudging RP Singh, the Congress, for taking 3 or 4 days? After all, it's a big state, it's a historic mandate. They will take their time to arrive at a consensus chief minister.
Well, we have no problem. They can take another probably few months also to decide their chief minister. But Zaka, please ask your backup team to search through. Was there any noise in the media or anywhere else or there were any leg pulling or any sort of another level of tug of war going on between the CM candidates like is going on here in Karnataka? One. Secondly, parallelly, you are missing on one thing, which is that what's happening in Rajasthan today. I mean, what happened in Rajasthan a few years back, and the people of Rajasthan have suffered because of that, and exactly the same is being repeated in Karnataka today. Sachin Pilot was in race. He was not made the chief minister. He was with the deputy chief minister, the promise of rotation or probably that after 3 years he'll get the term. But that didn't happen. And now what we've seen how the law and order has collapsed, how things have collapsed and administration has collapsed in Rajasthan. So our concern is the same in Karnataka also. I mean, God bless them, they can take their time as much they want to. But ultimately, it's the people of Karnataka who are going to suffer because of the tug of war going on between the leaders of the Congress party. Whether it's Shivakumar, whether it is Siddaramaiah, or whether it is Mr. Kharge himself.
Okay, R.K. Upadhyay, this whole thing about a third candidate, Mr. Kharge or Mr. Parmeshwara, whoever it is, how much do you lend credence to that? Because, like I said a moment ago, it ends up alienating both Mr. Siddaramaiah and Mr. Shivakumar. I'm not sure what purpose is achieved by that. Have things got to a point where neither party can be placated, neither party can be sort of enthused, even if he were to lose the chief ministership, something else is given in return? Because this third candidate business, it's been floating around for a couple of days now. How much, how real is the possibility of a third candidate, a surprise candidate?
No, I don't think that is possible because these are the two principal, actors who won this election for Karnataka, and there's no third person who has won this election. If at all some role has been played, it is by Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, giving a helping hand as a Congress president. And if you're talking about people like M.B. Patil or Parameshwar, they had a little role in these elections. So to make them as a third candidate or a possible compromise candidate, I think it will be turning the whole exercise into a farce. And it won't happen because these two have really worked really hard to bring Congress, to this level where they got 135 seats.
So between these two, who would you choose between these two?
See, it's very difficult, and I think they should have made this decision at least a week before, when they had a sense that Congress was getting a majority. I'm sure they knew that they were getting a majority, or at least when these observers were sent to Bangalore, and they meticulously took the opinion of each and every legislator till 2 a.m. They took them, and then what did they do with that? with all the information that they had.
No,
I felt
the
that
information there was very clear, Mr. Upadhyay.
You have to
The
allow me to
MLAs very clearly,
I need to come in.
overwhelmingly voted or were in
Yes.
favor of Mr. Siddaramaiah. But clearly
Yes.
that's not the only yardstick the High Command wants to go by.
No, but see, by dragging the whole thing to Delhi and making a spectacle of it here, what is that you have achieved? I think they've made made Karnataka into a farce now.
Okay.
Because you have the media glare, every single meeting of, whichever leader is meeting, whichever leader is being covered, and people are speculating on what's happening. And the fact that the Siddaramaiah group went to town this morning saying that he has been selected and in Bangalore, the preparations began for swearing in. This all, I think, must have embarrassed the Congress party.
Oh, absolutely.
How did they allow all
Today
this
you
to
had
happen?
you had
And then-
celebrations outside
and then
Siddaramaiah's
Mr.
house.
Can I
Shivakumar
comment?
to say
You
that all
had
this
you
is-
had
all this is
protesters
bogus.
outside 10 Janpad. I mean, that's
Gossip.
absolutely embarrassing when you have
And, it
protesters
is not. And words
outside the
that
house of the
Shivakumar
former
used.
Congress president. I mean, that's absolutely embarrassing because that's the point, Meeta Chakrabarti, that all the panelists are making. The BJP has also taken its time in choosing its chief ministers, not like
Can
this
I-
publicly. Not like this publicly.
Allow me to rebut to that. Congress is my party and Congress is like my mother. These are not my words. These are words spoken by DK Shivakumar, and give me 30 seconds or 1 minute of uninterrupted time, please. So both Siddaramaiah and Mr. DK Shivakumar are very tall leaders, incredibly talented, very hardworking, and we are choosing between two very tall
Ma'am, we
leaders.
know
I
all
think
of
it's a
that.
good problem. Yes,
Please
each
answer
of
the
them
question I
35
asked
MLAs
you.
were
I asked
consulted
you a simple
and
question.
the input
Can
was
I
Ma'am,
make a
I'm
collected
point
asking you a
here?
very
and
simple
was taken
question.
there.
They may be tall leaders, they may be
why
indefatigable
should
leaders,
we, after
but
getting-
why are you
after
allowing
getting-
this dirty linen to be played out in public? That's the question I'm asking.
After getting so I have a problem when you say dirty linen, because sir, answer me very simply. When someone says Congress is like my mother, there is no question of blackmailing or backstabbing. Does it seem like dirty linen
Can I
being
answer
washed
that?
in public?
Ma'am, for the
I don't
last
think
3
so.
days, this
Can
is
you please
this is
quote
playing
one
out in
single
front of the
statement that Mr.
cameras.
Siddaramaiah just-
You're okay
so
with
we
that?
are taking our own time.
Congress
We
party
are
is
taking-
okay
what
with.
is being played out?
No,
What is
please
being
take,
played
ma'am,
out?
ma'am, you're missing the
That
point.
we are-
Ma'am, if you can calm down and hear me for 10 seconds. Nobody has a problem with you taking
Sure.
5 days or 10 days or even a month. The problem is it's
Having
all
meetings.
happening in front of the cameras. People are coming
What is
out and
happening
making
in
statements in front of the cameras. Laddus are being given in front of the
Okay, you've
cameras.
asked me something. Please allow
Firecrackers
me-
are being burst in front of the cameras.
Please
Why is
allow
all
me
this
to
happening in the
respond to
public
that.
domain?
Okay. So, there's nothing wrong
Zaka,
in celebration. Now, please allow me to answer. What is happening? There is consultation that is happening. We have got a decisive mandate and we are committed.
Okay, I apologize for the bad audio with our Congress guest. We'll try and fix it in a moment and then get her back on. But I believe Mr. Vaidyanathan is also staying with us. What I want to know is a very simple question, Mr. Vaidyanathan. In the normal course of things, if a leader gets the support of the majority of MLAs, then automatically he or she lays claim to become the leader of the legislature party, and in this case, because it's the winning party, the chief minister. Why is that simple rule not good enough in this case? Mr. Vaidyanathan, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jagta. One minor or important clarification. I am neither a senior nor a journalist.
Okay.
I am a professor.
Sorry about that, yeah.
But so I have been indicated a senior journalist. I don't know whether to take it as a plus side or minus side. Anyhow, let it be.
It's usually a
aside.
negative, don't worry, but go on.
I don't. Given the complexities of today's media criticism and other thing. Anyhow, I am a professor. I would say that this is not uncommon for any of the political parties, whether it is BJP or whether it is SP, or in some places it is done inside the room in a closed wall and nobody else is, and in some places it is done outside. That's all. And I would rather say that this is a good thing, because after the swearing of the chief minister, the dissidence activity should not start. Karnataka Congress is very well known for that. From the time of, I am talking about Devarajars, Bangarappa, Gundrao. Every time, whenever swearing in take place, next day the dissidents group start and they come to High Command, Delhi, in order to represent, and this goes on. And this is, this is not uncommon in any political party in India. Let me make it very clear. Except, as you rightly say, this happens before the cameras. Congress is maybe, much more lenient and democratic compared to others, possibly. As far as the other issue, what you raised is whether the legislature party majority is the one which should be, deciding the. That's a very correct observation, and it is as it should be. But the issue is, in our context, many a time, the legislature party majority may not necessarily reflect the party's influence and party's what one can call popularity of the individual.
Okay.
As I think, if I remember correctly, the earlier Ghosh, Pallavi Ghosh also mentioned, I think, many people feel that, Siddaramaiah joined in 2006 and then he had been chief minister for 5 years and, this is our Indian way of looking at it. Why can't you give the other man a chance? Okay. There is nothing. And he is not, as correctly pointed out by the Congress representative, Mita Chakraborty, he is a very, if you can use the word, super loyalist actually. He has been, facilitating the entire Congress things for so many years. Gujarat MLAs came to Bangalore. He is the one who took care and arranged and, then they went back that Rajya Sabha poll. And, he is the, what one can call the he-man. Or what you can call the one who did things. Siddaramaiah didn't do any of those type of things. And he is known, DK Sri, for being a very active for a long period of time. So he has been, doing this, and why can't he be also rewarded? I am sure this will be sorted out in terms of, good portfolios. I am sure one should give it to him, not just water and power and they are not.
I think the problem was that portfolios were, at least as a proposal, put forth to him. Deputy Chief Ministership was put forth to him, and I believe one of the proposals by the High Command was also a rotational Chief Ministership, but he has refused to accept any of this. He says it's either Chief Minister or he will just continue as a simple MLA. But let me ask RP Singh. RP Singh, the point is, I think the professor was also making this point that maybe the Congress is more democratic than your party. That's why you're seeing this play itself out publicly.
Yes, it is much more.
RP Singh,
said
RP Singh,
Zaka,
thank you. Yes, sir.
Well, as I said earlier, Zaka, we have no issue. They can take months together to decide the chief ministership. The problem is that why in public, layer one, and secondly, my co-panelists from Congress have been saying that Mr. Shivakumar has been announcing that Congress is my mother and I won't do anything against my mother. Well, so did Mr. Sachin Pilot. And later on, Sachin Pilot was accused of the coup, and to this extent that when he came to Delhi, that he was accused that he's hobnobbing with BJP, and then he has already done some deal with BJP, although nothing of that sort happened. And then he went back, and then he was accommodated, and his deputy CMship went, and then now he's raising question against his own government on corruption. So these are the concern. I mean, tomorrow again, Karnataka will suffer the same way Rajasthan is suffering, or the same way Punjab suffered, for that example, way Sidhu and Captain and Channi fiasco happened, or way even the Chhattisgarh is suffering today, or the way Madhya Pradesh suffered, and later on they came and joined us, joined hand with BJP to give a stable government.
So, Mita Chakrabarti, please hear my question. I appreciate if you answer my question, or at least try to. The problem is that the credibility of the High Command, especially after Sachin Pilot episode and especially after T.S. Singh Deo episode, when the High Command says, okay, let's go with rotational chief ministership, why should a DK Shivakumar believe that? He can turn around and say, you're making a Sachin Pilot out of me.
Okay, I'll try to answer your query with whatever information I am in a position to give out in public domain. First of all, about Rajasthan, I think we are about to complete 5 years there. So a very stable government, a very pro-poor government, a very pro-people government. And we are very confident of doing well. Towards the end of this year, there's election in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Telangana. And we are very confident of very good electoral results in all these states. That's number one. Number two, coming back to Karnataka, people have given a huge mandate in favor of Congress, thinking about the government that they have, the 5-year, very stable, progressive government of between 2013 and 2018. And bear in mind, in 2018 election, though we lost the election in terms of number of seats, we actually got more votes. Our vote share was 38% as compared to 36% of vote share of BJP. So more number of people opted for Congress despite having Congress government for 5 years. It showed how well Siddaramaiah ji had governed during those 5 years along with the Congress cabinet. Here also, and hear me out, we are in a process of deliberation. We do have democratic processes in place, and we are trying to give the best possible formation and the best possible cabinet to the people of Karnataka to ensure a stable, progressive, pro-people government for 5 years that is going to give all the 5 guarantees that we have promised in our manifesto.
Okay. RK Upadhyay, you've heard from the Congress spokesperson. I'm not sure all of this adds up in the public domain because people are smart. People are seeing what is happening in front of the cameras. But anyway, RK Upadhyay, you want to make a point.
Trust me on that.
Yeah.
One important point, the Congress.
One second, sir. I'll come to you. RK Upadhyay first, please.
Karnataka and Rajasthan.
RK Upadhyay first, please. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Mr.
Karnataka and Rajasthan.
You know, I think the major problem here is a weak president at the Congress party. The Gandhis have not really given up the power, and he has to every time look behind his shoulders to see, to get an approval for whatever decision that he takes. I think that is one of the major reasons why this has dragged on for so long. Left to himself, I'm sure Mr. Kharge would have taken a decision by now.
No, but Mr. Upadhyay, one second. We are hearing the opposite. We are hearing the opposite, that Mr. Kharge is perhaps, I don't know what the history there is between him and Mr. Siddaramaiah. He's not particularly well disposed to Mr. Siddaramaiah, and it is actually Rahul Gandhi who's pushing for Siddaramaiah. We are hearing the exact opposite.
No, I think the point is, if that is the case, then he would make a decision. The problem is he's not allowed to make a decision. So he's in a position where he has to look behind, and then he has to consult Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. She's away from Delhi. Probably she's not in a position to but communicate to him. So all this have complicated matters. Otherwise, I think by now he would have said this is the.
Look, I want to be very clear about what we know of this story so far, right? What we know of this story so far is, of course, the Congress won a historic mandate. There was a meeting of the legislature party. A majority of the legislators were backing Siddaramaiah. Then these two leaders came to Delhi. And in Delhi, what we are given to understand is that Rahul Gandhi is very keen that Siddaramaiah becomes the chief minister because he believes that the Ahinda vote is what propelled this victory for the Congress. He also believes that Mr. Siddaramaiah is a good administrator. But if you look at it, all his public statements, DK Shivakumar is not talking about the numbers. He is only talking about loyalty, the Congress is my mother, so on and so forth. He's playing an emotional card. He's not playing the arithmetic card or the cold logic card. He's playing an emotional card. Now, all that has been happening, give me 10 seconds. All that has been happening over the last 3 days is the Congress High Command, through its various interlocutors, Mr. Surjewala, Mr. Venugopal and others, are trying to convince Mr. Shivakumar that, look, this is the best that we can give you. Please take it for now. Don't embarrass the party. Let's get on with the business of governance. It's a historic mandate. Let's not upturn the mandate. Let's not take away from that mandate. The people are watching. They are trying to convince Mr. Shivakumar over the last 3 days. Somehow he's not yielding. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Vaidyanathan. This is my best understanding of how the situation is played out over the last 3 days.
I think your analysis is pakka, 100% correct actually. It's a question of, it's a very difficult situation to balance because DK Shri has never claimed that he has got majority in the assembly or among MLAs. He openly says that, one person support is enough, another thing. And second point I want to make, because Mita Chakrabarti mentioned that this Rajasthan and Karnataka are the only two states, according to me, my record suggests, which never elected the same government next time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she should keep that in mind when she talks about Rajasthan.
Okay.
Unless some major changes, Karnataka and Rajasthan are the two states which always, flips between the two sides.
Correct, yeah.
One time this side, one time that. So to that extent, the victory of Congress is not a surprise to many people in Karnataka. It was expected that the other side will win this time.
Okay.
And the major important point is, according to me, even when Indira Gandhi was in charge as High Command, she could not convince very easily about Gunrao. It took something like 6-7 days actually.
Okay.
So it's not, I think High Command is there. Nobody denies about it. But, it's not something dictatorial, you have to take it or leave it type of thing. Very difficult.
All right. RP Singh, I'll give you the final word. I have to wrap up after this. Yeah, quickly, please.
I feel personally, finally, DK Shivakumar will come around and he will become a deputy chief minister.
Okay.
After 2 years, hoping to become, and they will
become chief
give some
minister. Okay, all right. RP Singh, final word. I've got to wrap up. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Should I not get the final word?
Please
given
yield,
that Congress
RP
is the
Singh,
one
yeah.
that is
Thank
forming
you.
the government?
RP Singh.
Well, this seems to be something which happened 5 years back when Mr. Khadge was in race like Mr. DK Shivakumar, and then Mr. Khadge was not made the chief minister, and then later on Siddaramaiah became the chief minister and lost the game within a year and a half, and then his MLAs ditched him, his MLAs went against him. So they want to repeat Mr. Siddaramaiah again. It's up to them to decide.
Okay.
Whether they want to repeat the history again is up to them to decide.
So let
but
us
we
all right.
they should give a stable government
We'll
and
leave it at
fulfill the
that.
5
I'm
promises
completely out
made.
of time. Thank you very much to RP Singh, to Mita Chakrabarti, R.K. Upadhyay, and of course to Mr. Vaidyanathan as well. Let's see. I mean, this should have been a straightforward choice between these two individuals, and I think one of the panelists said the Congress would have got wind that they're winning. They should have settled this question far, far earlier and not, at the very least, allow this to play out in the public fashion that it has. That, I think, is where people seem to be miffed, that despite giving such a huge and historic mandate to the Congress party, why are they not able to settle on this whole leadership question as quickly as they can? All right, we're getting